Hello, real estate world. I'm billion-dollar producing mega agent Tim SOJKA and the host of the Tough Talk podcast. The Weamers Insurance Group is one of the top independent insurance companies in the country, featuring hundreds of providers. They've recently saved my wife and I over $6,000 versus a rival insurance provider. So for a chance for high-quality insurance for home, auto, business, or if you're a developer and need site development, make sure to reach out to the Weamers Insurance Group. You can call them at 281-344-2557 or weamersinsurance.com. That's WIEMERS insurance.com. So if you like saving money, or as an agent, if you need to save a deal, reach out now. I'm so excited to talk to Brandon Avedikian, a real estate broker, a CPA, who also has his master's in accounting. In a very short period of time, Brandon has built a 10-plus top producing agent team at Aspire Commercial. In that time, he's helped teach them, lead them to follow his vision wrapped up in his name, Aspire Real Estate Team. If you want to build a great team, I can't think of a better guest to have than today's guest. Brandon looks young, but don't let that fool you. He's reached levels that most of us could never dream about. He was a managing principal in his 7 years at Holt Lunsford Commercial. He founded his top producing team a few years ago, and it's closed hundreds of millions of dollars in commercial real estate. So welcome, Brandon. We're excited to have you today.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so I think we can tell now. I kind of got the name right, but how many takes did it take me to get your name right?
Just a couple.
I felt like 11 of them. So very few people come directly into real estate, but you got here a little younger than most people. So let's talk about your journey into real estate.
Yeah, so I studied accounting in college, got my master's in accounting, got my CPA license, and went into public accounting at Ernst & Young. And then after, it didn't take long for me to realize that was not the career path for me. I just didn't enjoy it. It wasn't because of the hours. I work much more now than I did in public accounting, but I knew I needed to play the game, not keep score. And so after about a year, I jumped into commercial real estate.
So you had the dream job in accounting. You signed it. It used to be the big 7 accounting firms. Now what's the big 2 or big 3?
Big 4.
Big 4 accounting firms. So you had the dream job, big 4 accounting firm.
That's what they tell you, the dream job.
And you knew within a year, not for me.
Absolutely.
So there's a story I'm going to sidetrack with you on. I was teaching a class one time, and a guy came up to me and he goes, "Hey, I'm an accountant. I got my real estate license. I don't really like talking to people. What should I do?" And I said, "You should get out." Right.
No kidding.
So yeah, you have an accounting background, but I think you said something really important. You wanted to play the game. You didn't want to keep score in the game. So tell us about what attracted you with real estate that did not attract you in accounting.
So I was in audit, and in audit, you are working with the client to ask questions and do all this stuff to make sure to provide a level of assurance that their books are accurate. And so you get a lens into what it would be like to work in accounting. And if you're in public accounting, you're either gonna, the two main paths are you stay there long term, become a partner, or you go work in accounting at a company.
Right.
And so I saw what my superiors did, and that didn't look interesting. And then I saw the people I was interacting with at clients that worked in accounting, that didn't look interesting. And so I knew that it wasn't that I needed to switch jobs, or I needed out of the industry altogether.
You just knew it wasn't it for you.
Yeah, and then I didn't have any burning passion to get into commercial real estate. I kind of lucked into it. I had an internship in college and kept in touch with that company, and then ended up getting a job there.
Okay. And let's give a shout out. So who's the first company that believed in you? Who was it?
Holt Lunsford Commercial.
And you were a managing partner there at a very young age.
Yes, I started there in 2016, and then I was in their Dallas office, okay. And then they asked me to come start. They had a Houston office, but they only had an industrial division. They asked me to come start the office division. Okay. So I moved here in 2020, 2 weeks before COVID, to start an office leasing business. So that
fantastic.
Was fun.
Yeah, great timing.
Yeah.
That's like you start dating a girl right before you find out that she's married. So you could not have picked a worse time to get into the office business, because nothing was leasing office-wise at that point. So you really stepped into the fire right away. So what was that like?
It was crazy. I mean, literally we moved here in mid-February. My wife had a baby 2 weeks later. We had never heard of COVID when we went to the hospital, and then when we left 2 or 3 days later, that's when it kind of blew up.
So they selected you as a leader pretty early on, or you earned the right to be considered a leader. Talk a little bit about leadership, because, how do I put this? When I got into real estate, it was pretty easy. I was 38 and I looked 50. So that was a strange advantage. I looked the part of someone who had been doing it a long time. It just was easy for people to believe. Even though I was new in real estate, I didn't look new in real estate. So it was easier for them to accept me. You were very young at the time. You were hired in your 20s. You were managing people in your 30s. What did you have to bring to the table to inspire people at that age?
It's a good question. So, and it is difficult being young and managing people a lot older than you. I think you just have to be humble and believe in yourself. And you have to realize as a leader, and really you need to realize this whether you're a leader or not, but nobody really knows what they're doing. People just have experience and perspective and confidence to make decisions. I don't know about you, but I've done a lot of deals. I know you have too, but every deal you see something you haven't seen before. And so did you know what to do? My young guys will hate that I say this, but sometimes they'll ask questions and I'll say, do you think I have a book of answers?
Right.
And I like to instill that in young people. There is no book of answers. You have to be confident and rely on your instincts, your experience, your knowledge to make good decisions. And you can do more than you think you can. You can figure out more than you think you can.
Just pulling as much good information as possible. I had a guy who quit working for me, and when he quit, he stormed out of my office and said, when I got in, you should have given me a book of everything that could go wrong in real estate. And
a long book.
I said, first of all, that book would be longer than the Bible. And if you ever read it, you would never sleep again, right? So there is no book of everything that can go wrong. And I think part of it, I love that, is part of it is understanding your job, no matter your age, is to find out how you're going to get through the problem. A few podcasts ago, I told someone, stop telling me about all your brokerages and licenses you have and act like you have them. Don't tell me you have them. Just act like you know what you're doing. And again, I hate the term fake it till you make it, but act professional, and it's amazing how far that'll go. So I think also I get from you just talking to Alex, for instance, you believe in your people and you invest in them and they feel like you are working your tail off for them. I think that's the best thing you can do. If your people feel you are working hard for them, that's what they need more than anything else. They don't care how old you are. They don't care. If they feel you've got your back, people will let you lead. So
I hope so. I definitely work hard, and I hope that, the team feels like I'm doing it for their benefit as well.
I had a conversation with someone. My job is to make sure that I put you in a position where one day you're making a lot more than me.
I mean, that would be awesome if people made more than me.
Right. Yeah.
I think it's very short-sighted if you give someone a incentive structure and they do so well, I would recommend just counting your money and not comparing.
Right. I love it. I love it when people have an opportunity to work with you and really meet their maximums, right? I think that's the biggest blessing. And I've had, and I know you probably have too, I've had bosses who were afraid of me being promoted. And then I had bosses who wanted me to be promoted. And I think the single best thing you can do for someone when you're managing them is want more for them than you've had. Want them to have opportunities that you haven't had. And people can feel it if you want that. When you have that conversation of, look, man, I love that you're making $300,000 to $500,000 a year, and that's great. But how do we get you to $1 million?
Yeah, and I always tell young people, if you want to progress in your career, you have to do your boss's job and make your boss know that if they stepped away from that client or that account or whatever it is, that not only would there be no lapse in service for the client, but it would only improve. And if you're ambitious and you want to go places and you're in a place where you do that, you take your boss's job and your boss feels threatened by that, then you need to get out.
Weak managers are afraid you're going to replace them. Strong managers are praying that you can.
Exactly, because everyone should always be looking to improve. I don't believe in getting to a place where I just want to be exactly how I am. I don't want to improve anymore. And unless you got to that place and you just want to maintain status quo forever, why would you feel threatened about investing in training someone and hoping they do well?
And real estate's an interesting field. There's plenty of business out there for all of us. And you and I do very different things. You're in commercial real estate and I'm in commercial real estate. And I've tripped over a couple of your team members and done business with them. And that's great. But I've never lost business to you and you haven't lost business to me.
Yeah.
And by the way, if I did, I'd congratulate you. I'd be happy for you.
Abundance mentality.
Right.
There is plenty of business out there. And yeah, in the off chance we compete for the same deal and you win, I'll buy you a coffee and we can celebrate.
Right.
You're gonna have competitors, of course, but why not be friendly with them? And we're all here to, do the same thing, help people make good real estate decisions.
I've done that before, and I got to sit down with someone and say, how did you beat me? And they said, this is how I beat you. And it was such, like, I promise I'm not going to go call that client again. And he said, this is how I beat you. And I had another agent, she came to me one time and she said, we interviewed for the same listing and you got it. And she told me that she liked me more than you. And I said, she did like you more than me. She told me that too. Well, why did she hire you? Because I called her every week and you didn't. And the lady got mad at me for telling her that. Like, she thought I was literally trying to help her. Like, she loved you, but you didn't follow up, right? And the lady, by the way, still goes around and tells everybody that I won't say the exact word, but rhymes with rack brass. Because I was just trying to say, like, this is how I won. I want people to tell me that. I want people to say, like, this is how I succeed. This is how, and I want people to correct me. And if someone is successful as you are at a young age, I assume you've had mentors who did not mind giving you tough advice.
Oh, for sure.
What's the toughest advice or the best mentor you had and some advice they gave you?
Oh, there's so many things I could say. I think the best training advice I've ever had is almost not getting advice. It's being put in a position to where I had an opportunity to do things I wasn't qualified to do and figure it out. I think that you're always going to learn more by being given an assignment or a goal that you can figure out how to get done. And I think if you're in a fast-growing organization, which I've always been in since I've been in the business, no one has time to hold your hand. And so, when I was at Holt Lunsford Commercial, I was always given the opportunity to do things I wasn't qualified to do. And of course, I had people and mentors to ask questions to and to guide me, but I was given the opportunity to do that. Whereas if I was at a huge, publicly traded brokerage or other places, like I don't know that I would have got that opportunity. And so
people just giving you a chance to figure things out.
I was, I think 29 when I moved to Houston and just to start that division. I wasn't qualified for that, but they believed that I could figure it out.
So I had a manager who, I tell people all the time, he would come in town and I would get upset he would never spend time with me. And one day I said, why don't you ever spend time with me? And he goes, well, you've never missed your number. I'm out coaching the people who missed your number. He just wanted me to go succeed and not bother him. He wanted to play golf and not hear from me. That's what my boss wanted. And when I gave him that, it's amazing how fast you're promoted if you just keep doing assignments and your boss doesn't have to micromanage you. No.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting point. As a leader, you're dealing with problems. You're dealing with things that need to be addressed. And so, if someone's just crushing it as a leader, let them make sure they can, they have the resources they need.
Right. And then that's the person you promote. No one's going to promote the person who's calling them every day and asking them to fix problems for them. Everybody wants their phone to be silent. Everybody wants some time off. And when you're constantly calling your manager and asking for advice, that's just not the person that's going to get promoted. I just live by that. So you're a unique guest for us. So most of the guests we've had they're mega producers. The last guest we had works with professional athletes. But you've actually built a whole team around you. So tell us about Aspire Real Estate. How did you start it? Who were your first hires? What does your team look like now? And what did it look like in the beginning?
Yeah, so started the company in basically April 1st, 2023. Day one, it was just myself and Brad Segreto. And then we had soon thereafter hired a couple more people, including Alex, who you know.
Amazing.
And then we've since grown to about 25 or so people.
Wow.
And that includes agents. That includes, we've got about 6 property management staff, and then we have a head of operations, and then we have an overseas team that I think there's 6 or 7 people overseas.
What are some technologies that you're using that other people maybe should be using?
So our CRM is on HubSpot, which is it's a very expensive investment, but you can't run a business on spreadsheets. We use Monday.com for project management. So if an agent needs a listing agreement, or they closed a deal and they need an invoice, or if they picked up they want a pitch and they need a listing agreement, they need a pitch deck for a pitch. If they've got a listing and they need the flyer, anything you need, you just fill out a form and then it's done for you.
Wow. So Monday.com.
Monday.com, wow. Which it's kind of, maybe Monday's not the best name because it's like,
you remember it.
Oh no, that's on Monday.
Yeah.
I'm not telling
right.
The documents on Monday, not that event is on Monday. So anyway, and then we use all kinds of different, but
the fact that you're using overseas, there's other words for it, virtual assistants, things like that. And I know you say you don't use those words, but were you an early embracer in really fine tuning that overseas staff?
Yeah. So when I started, that was something I knew I wanted to focus on, and it's been great. Now, I use this term overseas labor porn. You see a lot of that on the internet, and what I mean by that is people saying, "Oh, for $5 an hour, you hire people, and they just, you go to the beach and watch your bank account grow." Could not be further from the truth. It's hard enough to train someone that is sitting next to you every day in the office. Training someone overseas on a different time zone when English isn't their first language in a different culture, it's very, very, very difficult. And so just like anything, it's a huge learning curve. It's an investment, especially of your time, and developing new skills for how to set those people up for success and enable them to add value to your organization.
So Aspire today, not in the beginning, Aspire today, do you mind, and if you don't want to share, you don't have to, about how much business will you guys do in a year? And again, this is a company that's only 2-3 years old. How much business will you guys do this year, total team?
We've done, I think, 163 deals or something so far this year.
Wow.
We'll probably end the year at 180, 185, something like that.
That's a big team. So,
and then we have a property management business as well.
Wow. The property management business, is that kind of more consistent mailbox money for you? I know when you're selling real estate, that's up and down. Property management is money you make every month. It's pretty consistent. Is that how you look at that money, or why did you get into property management?
It's steady. So yeah, brokerage is very volatile. Right. Property management is steady. It's generally longer term contracts, and And yeah, it's a good counterbalance to the coming in, the volatility in brokerage. And also it's just a service that some of our brokerage clients need. And if you don't have it, you can miss out on some opportunities.
I tell people the thing about sales is there's months where I make hundreds of thousands of dollars, and that's great. And then there's been a few months where my wife and I have written checks back for the company to survive. I mean, that's commercial real estate. But if you have that steadying influence of property management, that's going to pay some bills every month. So that's really nice.
Yeah.
How long have you guys been in the property management game?
So really we've technically had a property management business since 2024. So about a year after I started the company. We really ramped that up in this year in April. It was a long, it took a long time to get this deal done, but it was kind of an acqui-hire, if you know what that means.
I don't.
So acqui-hire is where you acquire a company, but you're really just acquiring the talent.
Okay.
And so we did it was a very unique deal structure where we acquired a team of property managers and their existing portfolio, and then now we've since grown and hired more.
So I know Alex likes to do light industrial, for instance. Do each of your major salespeople, do they have different specialties? Does Aspire have something they really focus on? I think I saw one lady leans retail, or do you mostly just stick with light industrial or office? What's your specialty?
I'm big on specialization for agents. So we have agents that specialize in office, we have agents that specialize in industrial flex, and we have agents that specialize in retail. We also do a lot of office condos, which is kind of a unique niche. But yeah, office, industrial, and retail. But yeah, I do not want agents doing all of the above.
Specialize.
Houston's too big. You have to be an expert at one thing.
I kind of had my hat handed to me in the best of ways. I was talking to another agent, and he's like, man, you have 2 full-time assistants. Actually, it's 3. And you have all these agents. He goes, how much did you take home? And I'll share that with people sometimes. I'm like, or will you share if I share? And I go, yeah, and I share it. He goes, oh, wow, that's a lot of work for that. And this guy, all he does is he does tenant leases. And he has 5 clients. All he does is tenant leases. He took home $1.5 million. Took home. More money than I've ever made in a year. Not more money than I've grossed, but more money than I've taken home. Him, no assistants, and yes, he works for a firm and he gives them a chunk of his commission, but the key word is he took home over $1 million just working tenant rep for one specific segment. And that's all he does. Now, it took him years to get there, but that's all he does. And I love that he shared that with me. And part of it's like crushing. It's like, oh my gosh, like I'm doing the wrong thing. No, I do what I know how to do. My specialty is I do office condos, offices, and office warehouses. That's all I do. And I'm tempted to do other things sometimes, but I know my specialty. So I think what you shared is just important. You can make $1 million doing retail leases. You can make $1 million representing retail. You can make $1 million doing second-gen restaurants, but don't try to do everything.
Yes, and I talk to a lot of people, obviously, that are thinking about getting into the business, and they typically will be thinking about what do they want to focus on from the lens of what can I make the most money doing, and that's the wrong way to think about it. Office has been terrible the past few years, but guess what? You can still make a lot of money.
Still what I understand.
Yeah, but the point is, your success or failure is about what you do and the choices you make and how hard you work and how long you're willing to stick with it, not the product type you focus on. And guess what? The product types that are doing better get flooded with more competition. The product types that aren't doing as well, people leave the industry. And then guess what? Markets change, things shift. And so what's in favor one day is going to be maybe out of favor 5-10 years later, and vice versa. And then when something's out of favor and then it comes back into favor, it's not like the brokers that left just reappear the next day. No. It takes years for that process to see itself through. That's why I'm still very bullish on office.
Yeah, office is always going to be where I love to play office. That's I just understand it. That's where I love to play. And I have an office. I understand it. I own an office. And that's where I feel like I want to be, right? So everybody thinks they want to do something. Like, again, we just had on a guest she works with professional athletes. And I know a lot of people think they want to do that. It sounds like a nightmare to me. Just all the things these incredible young men and women have to deal with in their life. If I'd had the success at 22 that some of these athletes have, I don't think I would have been a very grounded person. And the fact that they are impresses the heck out of me. So I am impressed by these young men, but I also know it's not for me. She runs this basic concierge service where she really does a lot in their life, and I know that's not for me. What made you kind of lean into offices? I know that's the assignment you were given, but it seems like you've always had a passion in that office game.
Yeah, so believe it or not, when I got into the industry, when I was interviewing, I had talked to them about office, I had talked to them about industrial and another non-brokerage related role. And I picked office not because of the product type. I didn't pick office over industrial because I liked office more than industrial. I picked it because it was like the new division at the company.
Okay.
It was a startup division within the company, and that seemed more.
You won the challenge.
And then I think when I eventually ended up starting my own company, I think I was always very entrepreneurial, and office was what I ended up focusing on to kind of that led me to where I am today. So, but I love office buildings. I love, figuring out how to make a deal work, figuring out how to help these owners fill up their buildings and help tenants check the real estate box so they can focus on what they do.
Yeah, it's really interesting when you're working commercial real estate. We end up doing things that people don't think are part of real estate, like negotiating a tax abatement for a client who's moving to town, like literally calling the mayor's office and saying, look, do you want this client to come here because we need some help to get him here? Like everybody wants this client in town. So we end up doing a lot of things that people think are real estate related that aren't real estate related. There's a lot of things that we have to step in and do, permitting and detention and things that people think aren't our job. All of a sudden we have to know. So
it's a very good point. And to our conversation earlier about figuring it out, there's no book of answers. Commercial real estate brokerage is the broad base of challenges that you're going to face that you have to figure out. Wouldn't imagine there's many other industries out there where just the realm of issues could be so vast. And we've got to buckle down and figure out how to get our clients the information they need when unforeseen things come up that we've never heard of before.
So when I was 38 years old and I was working for Nestle, and my wife bet on me. She's like, that's when I left to go into real estate. So I had a great job with Nestle. I had benefits. I had a company car. I had everything you could want. But I also spent 18 or 16 years in that professional space. And I thought I got out young at 38. I thought I had accomplished everything I could in the corporate world. I was going to go as far as I wanted to go. But my wife, she bet on me. She's like, I think my husband can have his own business. Your wife and you made that decision much younger. You were about 30 years old, 31, when you stepped away from a job that you were very successful at to found your own company. I assume you had a business plan. By the way, most people that step into real estate don't, but I'm betting you did. What gave you the courage and gave your wife the courage to say, you know what, we're going to go found this company, Aspire, and talk about the name, where it came from, and the courage that it took to do that, and why you made that decision when you had, honestly, probably a job you could still have today.
Yeah. So my wife has been very supportive throughout the process. You can't start a business without the support of your spouse and expect things to go well.
No.
She believed in me. The first couple years are always really hard.
Yeah.
And she was there every step of the way, and I'm very grateful for that. And then, the plan I had day one versus the plan I have now is much different. It evolves, but yeah, you've got to have a plan, and you've got to go. show up every day and do your best to execute. And in terms of the name, I knew I didn't want to name it after myself. I didn't want the name to have any ties to my personal name. And I wanted it to mean something. And so Aspire Commercial, that's kind of how it was born.
It's a great word.
And it was before ChatGPT existed. So
you actually had to do some...
I actually had to,
do some mental gymnastics?
Yeah.
So did you have a business plan?
Nothing elaborate. I didn't even know day one if I was gonna grow. I didn't know day one if I was actually gonna grow a brokerage business. That wasn't necessarily part of the plan. I was gonna keep doing some deals to feed my family while I figured out what was next. Maybe start buying real estate. And then we just had a bunch of organic growth, and the market kind of showed me through growing without trying that there is a place for a new perspective in the commercial real estate brokerage business.
So let's talk about some of what you would call the secrets of success of Aspire. So what are some of Brandon and Aspire's secrets to success?
Do what you say you're going to do. Work hard, and do not expect anything good to happen quickly. Yeah. And client service. We're in the service business. We don't own products that we sell. We don't have a manufacturing facility. We don't have patents on. We literally just sell our knowledge and our ability to help people make good real estate decisions. And so you need to wake up every day remembering that and make sure that you give your clients the best service that you possibly can. And as the business owner, that's why we have all these people helping overseas and here in the office, and we have different training programs people can go through, and I want our agents to be able to focus on serving the client and not have to worry about all the other administrative stuff on the back end.
So I did residential for 15 years before I got into commercial. And commercial fits my personality a lot more. But in residential, you really make money. You put your client first, but you put their emotional needs first. And yes, you try to help them make good business decisions when they're by their house or help them find the right neighborhood. But it really is an emotional decision to a very large degree. And you're there to support them emotionally. To me, the big difference commercially, it's really simple. If you make a client money, you get to work with them again. If you don't make them money, you don't. If you make them money 3 times in a row, but don't make them money the 4th time, you may never work with them again. So to me, commercial all comes down to, before I even work with a client, there's a lot of times I advise a client. I've probably spent more time advising clients, do not do this project than do it. But when I advise a client to do a project, if they don't make money with me, I just lost my chance to work with them again.
That's exactly right. And we have had couple converts from residential, and to your point about emotional, I remember the first few they'd get on a call with me talking to a client about a potential land site or buying a building, and they were just fascinated. Wow, there is zero emotion in this. It's all about the numbers. It either works or it doesn't. And so yeah, I've never been in residential at all, but yeah, it's certainly an emotional decision. Now, people can get emotional in a negotiation, right, for sure. And I would say people are a lot more emotional about office space than, retail. It's like, are we going to be able to sell the product here? Industrial is, can we ship out our product? Or, office, your customers aren't coming in to drive your revenue, and you're not shipping product out of there. So it's office is based much more around wants than needs. And so
I
that
can
it
see
can
that.
get, but it's still not nearly as emotional as residential.
Again, residentially, I had this conversation so many times. Look, I don't know if your ex-wife's right or you're right. I don't. I'm just here to sell the house. Are we selling the house? Because I don't have a marriage counseling certificate. And even if I thought you were right, I'm not going to say that in front of her. And even if I thought she was right, I'm not going to say that in front of you. Just, are we selling the house? Like, that's why I'm here. So that, by the way, meant the whole time I was meant to do commercial. All right, so let's have some fun.
Real quick, funny story. My wife did residential for a brief period of time, and she did a deal where by the time the client put the property the house under contract versus closing, she was told by the client like 3 times we're getting a divorce, and then they were back on. So they were back on and they closed.
Yeah. All right, so so there's this old saying that I loved. The lead didn't come from the internet, because the internet has like 85 different, it could come from this search engine, that search engine, this and that. So because you have this office and you do a lot of different types of commercial real estate, let's throw out all the different specialties that you and I can think of off the top of our head. So when people say they want to come do commercial real estate, the advice you and I would both give them is don't say that. I'm going to do this segment of commercial real estate. So I'll go first. I know a guy who just does churches. Hit me with one.
Net lease restaurants with single tenant net lease.
Second gen restaurants.
3PL tenant rep only.
3PL tenant rep. What's that?
Like third party logistics companies.
All right. I know a guy who just does golf courses.
Wow. I know a guy that just does RV parks.
Wow. Of course, retail we haven't mentioned. You can make a whole lot of money just doing retail. I have zero desire to do retail. So retail lease side, and then retail landlord side. And then once it's leased out, you get to sell it. That's a whole different segment. So retail alone, tenant side, landlord side, and then when it's full, sell it side. All right. What do you got?
Yeah, that's what's great. Saying you're in commercial real estate means nothing.
Right.
And we're just talking about brokerage. And then you've got
property management.
If you work for an owner, are you in acquisitions? Are you in asset management?
Do you work for developers? I spend most of my time working for developers. That's mostly what I do. So my brother has been working in the airport hangar niche for like 3 years.
Wow.
And he's invested 3 years, and he hasn't made a ton of money yet, but he's invested all his time in airport. And I'm like, Jeff, that's too specific. I don't think you should be doing that. And he just landed his first airport, this $1 million sale, bigger than any sale I've ever made. But the thing I want to stress is he put 3 years into that space before that opportunity, and he's going to get the opportunity to list multiple hangars. And so he has all these opportunities coming now, but he put 3 years into that because he wants to be a pilot. That's what he wants to do. So to me, it's incredible when people say commercial real estate, they look at it as one thing. And I try to tell them, it's a million things. Go pick the one or two you want to do, and there's plenty of business out there for the other people to do the other things. So,
yeah, the riches are in the niches, as they say.
Yeah.
And when people just say, I'm interested in commercial real estate, and that's all they've got, it's just not compelling. People that have been in the business for a long time, they have people reaching out to them all the time, asking for advice. Right. And if someone says, hey, I am interested in, even if it doesn't have to be one office landlord rep or industrial tenant rep. It doesn't have to be that specific, but do a little homework and figure out, narrow it down a bit and say, hey, I'm interested in either office or retail, or I think I want to do industrial, but I'm not sure about if I want to do landlord rep or tenant rep or investment sales. It's a lot more. All right, this person's done their homework. I want to help them.
Yeah, there's a lot of investment of your time that should go into picking what your specialty is going to be. But also, it should be a little bit of where your heart is, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Your success or failure will be based on what you do, not what product type you picked. So pick the product type that's most interesting to you.
Right. So a couple years ago, when I was first getting into commercial, I had somebody that came to me about car washes.
And that's another good one.
That's a niche, but so to do
gas stations is another one.
Yeah, car washes. You have to have 25 to 30,000 cars a day that are going by the direction, not on the street, the direction, or with easy access to the car wash. 25, 30,000 cars a day. Well, those kinds of properties aren't cheap. you need an acre to an acre and a half. And then you need to be able to get enough water there. So it's just such a specific specialty. And you can make a great living doing car washes. But that I didn't have a lot of passion around it, so it wasn't for me. So I really had to go in and explore it and feel it and touch it and taste it. And to me, it just wasn't for me. And I like getting my car washed, but it's not something I was passionate about. I drive a Dodge. I don't really care if it's clean all the time. I'm on construction sites. But my point is, it wasn't my passion. So I think you should investigate what's not your passion too, and find out this is not for me. So secrets to success. What are some secrets to success that you can share?
Secrets to success. I don't know if there are any secrets to success. It's you've got to put in the time and put in the work. I feel like in today's day and age, especially, with social media and you're just people only put out there what's good and people are looking for this like fastball, this ticket to success.
Right.
And success is by doing one thing really well over a long period of time with a company that supports you and mentors that support you. I really believe that is the secret to success. Commercial real estate is a get-rich-slow scheme.
Yes.
And if you're expecting it to be a get-rich-quick scheme, you're going to be out. You're going to give up. And so having resilience, having setting the expectation, and no matter what you do, your expectations should be the first 5 years are going to be really tough. I'm not going to have, you don't want to say I'm not going to have much success because you don't want to limit yourself with your limiting beliefs. However, the expectation should be that, I'm not even going to think about quitting or moving on to something till I've given it 5 years of full effort, because and compounding of knowledge, relationships, and effort is a secret of success, but that requires time doing one thing. And so if you go do commercial real estate brokerage for 2 years, then you go sell insurance for 2 years, then you go get into general contracting, you're not going to have any knowledge or relationships or effort that compounds because you're starting it over every 2 years.
And my brother's at about that 5-year point with the airports, and I'm so proud of him. And I may have been a limiting belief for a while. It's like, man, that's too narrow. I'm not sure what you're doing, but he was committed. And I think he was telling me he gets 20 to 30,000 hits a day now on his website. And again, it's so specific to me, but that's where he wants to play. And I'm so proud of him for that. He put in his time.
And commitment is so important, because if we talk about a football field, you start on your own 1 yard line, and the goal line is when you start to get real momentum and it starts to get fun and you start to make money. Unlike in football, you don't know how close you are to that goal line.
Right.
So you may put in 3.5 years and you're at the 1 yard line and then you quit.
Yeah.
Because you felt like you were still on your own 20.
Right.
And so we don't get to know in this life when that break is going to come. But the secret to success, to the question, is giving yourself enough focused time to where you're going to stick around till it comes by doing the right things.
There's this young man that I met, and part of me hopes he's not listening to this, and part of me hopes he is. And he'll know who I'm talking about. This guy had the most epic head of hair I've ever seen. That flip head of hair. Perfect looking, 6'1", gorgeous man, the kind of guy that walked in a room and every woman's heart just.
I wouldn't know.
I wouldn't know either. He had those beautiful eyes that said, I don't know how good looking I am, and that smile that said, oh, yeah, I do. Right? I mean, just the perfect mix of innocence and bad boy, and just this physically beautiful human. In shape, could eat whatever he wanted because he was still 20 years old. And I spent a lot of time going, man, that would be fun. Just this guy had every physical tool in the world. He was smart. He was raised well. everything you could ever want. And he came and worked for me for 2 years, or about a year and a half. Then decided I'm going to be a Navy SEAL one day and quit. And then he decided he was going to have a moving company. And I wanted to support him. I liked the kid. He had a moving company for about a year and he quit. And then he went and worked in a construction company. And while
this is like my biggest pet peeve.
Right. And while I hope you can make a whole lot of mistakes, because he was 18 when I met him. You can make a whole lot of mistakes before 25 and be just fine. And he might be about 25 right now. The advice you're giving, and I stand by 100%, is just stick to it. Once you find anything that you love, just stick to it and stay in it and fight for it every day, because it takes 5 years before you're even going to know if you got a shot.
Yeah, I think I was making $60,000 a year when I left accounting, which again, it's not a lot of money, but this was also 2014. And I, started making $40,000 a year, and then that, went up slowly for the first couple years, and then it, but it wasn't. It was a grind, and I didn't know if I was going to be successful at the time. I just knew that in order to have a shot, I had to stick with it and keep working really hard. And yeah, and if I would have quit and started doing something different, I wouldn't have ever had anything compound.
Right. And there are a lot of paths to success, by the way. And I'm not saying this young man I'm talking about isn't getting rid of everything he doesn't want to do and won't find the path to success. He has a lot of talent. I'm rooting for him. I like the guy. I hope he does find that. But you can't keep giving up after a year and a half.
Correct. Now, just like with me, I realized accounting wasn't for me.
Right.
But if I then decided real estate wasn't for me, and then I decided insurance wasn't for me, or whatever I went and did,
at
some point I've got to look in the mirror.
Right. Yeah. And say it's me.
Say it's me that's not sticking with something, because people just want that fastball. Right. They want that secret. I can't. There's no secret here. Maybe I can find the secret over there.
I had a buddy one time, he was going on his 4th marriage, and he's explaining to me how crazy all these women are. And I'm like, they all only had the one thing in common, right? I mean, they all had one thing.
That's a good analogy.
Yeah. I mean, at a certain point, it's not the women. And women, if you're a married guy, same thing. At a certain point, young lady, if you've been married 5 times, at a certain point, it's not the guys you're picking. Just saying.
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk a little bit about your success team. Of course, your wife, and besides, of course, the team at Aspire, which we've talked about that team, and I know you have a managing partner, and if you want to talk a little bit about him or her, do. But talk about your success team around you that might not be at Aspire, the people who have bet on you, believe in you, the people you go to for mentorship. Talk about your success team.
Yeah, so my wife's at the top of that list. My I was blessed with wonderful parents. A lot of great friends that I get support from and can call to bounce ideas off. I think that's an important it's an important part of the journey, because sometimes it feels like work is 100%, but it's not, and sometimes you need people to talk to. You need people to just, let your mind rest. And
so one thing I do, and it's more for entertainment than anything else, I've written 5 novels. All of them have been #1 on Amazon, and that's great. But I make a whole
fiction.
Yeah, fiction, like novels. But I do that for me, right? And they've all been #1 on Amazon. But let's put it this way: I make a whole lot more money selling real estate than selling, right? But if you love good thriller novels, they're fun. Like, go read them. That's great. But I have one author that I know I can go to, and then I have a family member that I will send in my book, and they will beat the living crap out of me. They will be tough on me. Like, when I send somebody something for feedback, I don't want someone that's going to tell me what I want to hear. And these 2 women, they're not going to do that. You've got to fix this. You've got to fix that. And I think being able to take mentoring and tough advice, and okay, right away it's hard, but if you will internalize it, and then a day or 2 have the courage to call that person and say, hey, that couldn't have been easy. Keep giving me that advice. I think that's one of the best things you can do. Do you have that person in your life that will just, and again, my wife can be tough. She loves me and she's crazy about me, but I love that she's like, hey, before we do this, let's analyze this. Let's look at it. Let's look at it from all the angles. So when I say she's being tough, it's just she's being smart. Do you have those people, but again, besides your wife, who really do that for you, who will give you that tough advice when you don't want to hear it?
Of course, yeah. But I rely on different people for different topics. It's like you wouldn't go to someone that's been divorced 4 times for marriage advice, and you wouldn't go to someone not in business to talk to about.
Although they will offer a ton of unsolicited business advice.
For sure. And I think that as a business owner or anyone that's managing the efforts of whatever they're doing, you need to have wise counsel, but then you also need to understand that nobody knows your business like you do. And so you have to figure out, and I don't have this figured out, but I always, no matter how wise someone is or how much more business experience they have, they don't live, eat, sleep this business and this specific like vision I'm trying to execute. Whereas but they can offer incredibly valuable advice about things to look out for, how to pitfalls, how to structure, how to hire, how to fire, stuff like that. And so you've got to take wise counsel and then apply it to make decisions that only you can make, because only you because every business is so different. Like we're both in the brokerage business, but the way you go about it's going to be way different than I go about it. The way CBRE goes about it, it's different than the way JLL goes about it. There's every company has their own way of doing things. And so I think that's something I've realized as a business owner.
There's a couple things to your point that I want to throw in. I tell people there's people who write contracts, and then there's people who call and ask me a million questions, and they're not the same person. Because the person that's asking a million questions is looking for a way not to do business. The person who writes a contract and during feasibility is going to figure it out, that's the person that's got to do business. So shut up and write a contract. Sorry. Shut up and write a contract and stop asking me a million questions. But if you send me a contract, I'm happy to answer questions, but don't ask me a million questions before I even know if you have any money, right? So that's tough. But I find I used to go to people for advice sometimes when I was younger and maybe didn't have the backbone it took me a few years to build. I would go and ask people questions to try to find a way not to do something. Oh, I got this advice saying I shouldn't do it. And I think now it's closer to what you talk about. Now it's, okay, I'm going to take those people's advice, but this decision is mine. I'm not doing this because she said do it. I'm not doing this because he said do it. I'm doing this because this is what I believe in. And I accept all the responsibilities to do it. I think when I was not as good of a leader, I was looking for someone to point at and blame for my decision. And now I'm great at saying, hey, this is my decision, live or die by it. I'm the only person that can make it. And that's what you just said. So a lot of people spend too much time asking for advice because they just want a reason not to do something.
Yeah, and every problem at the end of the day is your fault.
Yeah.
As a business owner, as a leader, and if you don't get to blame anyone.
You don't.
It's
you.
It's all up to you. And if somebody makes a mistake, you're responsible for it.
All right. So the next part is state of the market, and I always say it's not the market, it's you. You probably will always have an agent on your team who's having their best year, and you will have an agent on your team that's having their worst year. You just will. So tell me about the state of the market as you see it, and how do you use it to drive your business?
Yeah, so among those different product types, it's very, very different. Even within office, it's very, very different. 1980s vintage product where the owner's basis is above the debt balance and they have no money for tenant improvements, very bad.
Yes.
People that own at the right basis, or newer buildings, or buildings in a really good location,
or boutique buildings,
or office condos, single story. It just depends. But And then, retail is very strong. There's not a lot of transaction volume still, but there's, if there's most spaces that have been sitting vacant for a while, or there's a reason they're vacant, and it's not lack of demand. And same thing with industrial, very strong. But yeah, I think me personally, and we as a company have, and this includes before I started Aspire, every year the production's gone up, and we've done more than the previous year. And so the market is not an excuse to not perform.
The market is never an excuse. There's always someone having a great year.
You just have to you have to be ready to pivot when the time.
You, I think, can look in the future better than most people, and I mean that as a compliment. Looking into the future of commercial real estate and AI, what do you see the future of commercial real estate looking like?
The biggest thing I would say is you need to figure out how your clients are going to call you, not how you're going to call them. And I'm talking about new business, people that you don't know. The days of cold calling are coming to an end. I mean, I get so many calls, and it tells you spam filter.
Oh yeah.
Or whatever it says. And you now have if you have a reasonably new iPhone and you have the newest software, you can have it screen call. So you could turn on a setting to where if you call me and you're not in my contacts, I can have the setting force you to say who you are, and then it'll transcribe what you're saying. It's like, I'm not going to pick that up.
Nice.
And so I think that as people that are selling a service or selling a product, it's traditionally a cold calling business. And so how are you going to get your clients to call you? That's where I am thinking every day.
So David Weamers, who's one of our sponsors, but he's also one of the biggest independent insurance brokers in the country, he said he has 30 to 40 calls come into his office every day. And I can't even imagine thinking what that business would look like for me. I probably get 7 to 10 internet leads a day, 4 or 5 calls a day, but he has 30 calls that come into his office every day to buy real estate or to buy insurance. And that's the world he's created.
Yep.
And how different does your and my world look if it's 30 and then 50, then 100 calls that come into you every day? So I think that's one of the most important questions you should be thinking about. That's a great answer.
And then another thought on that same question. We have to provide value when we're chasing business. Nobody wants to talk to you if you're just saying, hey, I'm a real estate broker. Do you have something I can sell? Do you have something I can lease? And AI has accelerated that because it's never been easier to send out canned generic garbage at unlimited scale. This isn't necessarily AI, but it's technology. These programs where it'll just dial hundreds of numbers at once, and then whoever picks up it comes.
By the way, dialers. So I've been in real estate 22 years. So I'm been doing this a while. Dialers have been around for 40 years. So before I got into business, the multi-dialers have been around, and it's getting worse. So how many calls? I mean, I used to get maybe 2 or 3 spam calls a day. Now it's 40.
Oh,
it's ridiculous.
Well, and that is why Apple and I'm sure other phone providers, they're coming up with this new filtering. If you're done with it and you just want to make only allow someone saving your phone to come through, just turn on this setting. Nice. And I think that's going to be that's the future.
I'm going to have you show me that after. Just saying.
I will.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to get a little tougher here. We're not to the tough talk yet. But what's the biggest mistake you see real estate agents, specifically commercial real estate agents, make?
Focusing on what will benefit them over the next 30, 60, 90 days and not what will benefit them over the next 1, 3, 5, and 10 years.
Nice. Not having a 3 or 5 year plan.
Yep. And to give a couple examples, so if you're a new agent and you're working under some senior brokers, and let's say they give you a small split on some of their business to help show space, help respond to proposals, whatever the case may be, and then you can do a good job for them and learn a lot, but then you're going to have all these other opportunities with low probability stuff that you can go chase, and you should chase that stuff. As a new agent, you should chase whatever you can chase and learn, but don't neglect that opportunity that those senior agents have put you on. This shiny thing that might be a check in 30, 60 days is causing you to get, for these senior agents to say, I can't trust this guy to put him on a project. And then 6 months later, they get a massive project
that you could have been on,
but that you've shown them that you're not going to hustle it down for them.
It goes back to I tell the story all the time. When I was at Nestle, I was paid to not call my boss, and I was paid to make his job look easy. So when these senior agents give you that opportunity and you lease some space for them, or even if you show and it's another agent and you help get that agent paid, they remember those things. Mm-hmm. If you make them money, they're going to find ways to help you. These agents want to help you and groom you. And they wouldn't give you this opportunity if they didn't want to give you the chance. So don't let them down. Yeah, if someone's betting on you, deliver for them.
Yep.
I would say one of the biggest mistakes I see out there is, look, I do a lot of business with agents that are newer into commercial that have never done a deal before. And it's so easy when you get a call from someone that doesn't really know what they're doing to talk down to them or not respect the chance that they could have a client. And yeah, they might be doing their first commercial deal. They might. And they probably are. On a lot of my projects, I'm working with a lot of residential agents who's somebody they help buy a home just wants to buy an office. And so I'm helping people do their first deal. Not really spending the time to educate that person. And there's times I'm great at it. And there's times, to be fair, that I'm so tired of dealing with people that don't know what they're doing that maybe I don't handle it as well as I could. But when I call commercial agents, I still have a residential brokerage out there. And when they see I have any residential, they may not want to talk to me. They don't look up the fact that, look, I've done, a couple $100 million in commercial real estate now, and that's great. But they just, hey, he's a residential guy. Don't write him off. Yes, it's probably, and I get it, they might be wasting your time, but at least challenge them back and say, hey, put together an LOI. And if the person, that's what I do. If they know how to put together an LOI, even if they try it for the first time and they put in some effort, I want to work with that person. Or I say, look, make your client look good for me. Send me a proposal that makes your client look good. The other advice I'll give is, if you are a residential agent and you're tripping into this for the first time, do some research before you call me. So the single best thing I can do is go to LoopNet, look at the listings, pull as much information down as you can before you call Keith Edwards, before you call the #1 land broker in the whole city. Do some research. So
yeah, but back to our conversation about client service. So it is frustrating for commercial brokers when residential agents call that don't know what they're doing. But guess what? You got to treat them with respect because, number one, it's the right thing to do, but also residential, just because they don't know what triple net means does not mean they don't have a legitimate client.
Right.
And your client might want to lease or sell their property to their client. And so you have to do it. But I will also say, I shouldn't be showing a house on the weekend. None of my agents should be showing a house on the weekend.
Right.
And if you're showing a house on the weekend, you probably shouldn't be showing flex space on a Tuesday.
Right.
And so unless you're not doing your client a service, refer the business, take a referral fee. And unless you're a residential agent that has real plans to get into commercial and get the mentorship necessary to do so effectively, you don't chase the commission. The best residential agents do not do commercial and vice versa. And
when I came to commercial, I had done 3,000 residential transactions at that point. And I knew I don't want to do that as much anymore. And do I still guide a team that does residential? Yes, but I had to step away and say, I'm not going to do that anymore to have any chance to have any success commercially. So I think you have to put that line down and say, this is what I want to do moving forward. It is hard to do both. And people who try to do all of it, it's a tough place to be. Biggest mistake you've made?
Oh, man. There's too many to count.
Yeah, there are.
Biggest mistake. Can you be more specific?
Well, I can give you several examples. For instance, taking a phone call while I'm at my daughter's basketball game.
Yeah, my kids don't play sports yet, but
They do.
But yeah, I mean,
Taking a call at
not
dinner.
being present, taking a call at dinner, sitting at the dinner table, but your mind is still at the office.
That's a tough one. Yeah, we can get pulled into a lot of things. I think a mistake that I make way too often, and I mean way too often, is allowing someone to ask me 50 questions on the phone. There's a certain point where it's Saturday. Look, hey, can you answer a question? Look, I would be happy to answer a question. But if I've been on the phone 30 minutes with you and you're 15 questions in, there's a certain point that I have to say, look, man, it's Saturday, and I really want to help you. I tell you what, call me Monday and have your list of questions ready to go and let me know how many questions there really are. But let's not one more question my whole Sunday away. I've let my Sundays be one more question to death before. Mm-hmm. So I think that's a problem. And not being willing to have that conversation with someone like, look, I really want to help you. I really want to help you, but let's have this conversation. Let's set an appointment for it if it's going to be more than one question.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I mean, I've made more mistakes since I started Aspire than I've made the rest of my life combined, because you're just,
there's so many people you're trying to do the right thing for. You're trying.
Well, and I started the company after 7 years in the business, so I was pretty good at doing real estate deals. But guess what? I had 0 years of experience running a business. And so what do you do when you have 0 years of experience doing something? You do it very poorly. And then you just have to know that you're going to make mistakes, monitor for evidence you've made them, correct the best you can, and move on, and don't beat yourself up.
I think that's a really good advice. You're going to make a lot of mistakes when you do this, but you only fail when you stop. So all right, I've been doing this. I can't even count how many mistakes I've made, but so far, I'm knocking for a reason. So far, I've never been sued because I try to do the right thing when I make a mistake. So I think people, if you make a mistake and if they see how hard you work in the face of the mistake, you can actually have a better relationship with someone if you live through that mistake together. So,
yeah, absolutely.
All right, so we're coming to the tough talk. So the tough talk, I always explain it to people. What's your favorite alcoholic beverage of choice? Do you have one?
Vodka.
All right, so vodka martinis or just straight vodka?
Vodka Topo Chico. Okay. Or...
All right, so you've got some vodka and Topo Chico. You're 2 or 3 further in than you would usually go. Okay, so I'm usually going to stop at 1 or 2 old fashions, but let's say I'm at my 4th one. The tough advice that you would give someone, not sugarcoat it, that you wouldn't give in a professional setting. What's the toughest advice you could give someone in real estate?
Nobody's coming to save you. There is no reward for being a good person in a professional setting. The things that get rewarded are hard work, consistency, and you may be the nicest person ever, but if you're waiting for someone else to get you where you want to be, it's just not going to happen. No one is coming to save you. And so whatever your goal is, you're going to have to go get it.
Yourself.
Right. And you're going to have to be uncomfortable, because when you feel uncomfortable and you feel stressed and nervous about something, it's because you're pushing yourself to do something that you haven't done before or you're not confident in. And so if you're growing a career, you should have a lot of discomfort. And so if you're not feeling discomfort and you're waiting for someone to come save you, you're gonna be disappointed.
I love that. No one is coming to save you. I think that's great. I haven't gotten that advice before, and I love it, but it is absolutely true. So there's this, you kind of sometimes go on sidetracks with shows, and there's a show I'm watching right now, Alaska, The Last Frontier. And it's this family that they live on a homestead. It actually, Jewel, the singer, she's the daughter of one of these people, but they live on this homestead and they live miles out of town. They don't have some things like electricity or running water, and they have to figure out everything themselves. Like one guy, so instead of buying hurricane straps, he cut a barrel up and he made his own hurricane straps. Like, they recycle everything. They have to figure out everything. And I never thought of that as a great analogy for nobody's coming to save them. The government's not going to show up to help. I love that old quote, what's the scariest thing out there? We're the government, we're here to help, right? That's the scariest thing out there. That was a Reagan quote, I think. But no one is there going to show up to help the Kilcher family. If they want hurricane straps, they're going to cut a bucket and they're going to make them. If they need a new structure, they're going to cut down trees and use their homemade timber mill to build it. And I've never thought of us as homesteaders, I guess. And I've wondered why I'm so fascinated with that show, but maybe it's because I live a life like you where there's no one there to save me. I love that quote. All right, so this is the time for your shout out. I want you to look right at your camera and talk about why should people call Aspire? Why should people reach out to you? What's the best reason in the world that someone should call your company?
Oh, I appreciate the opportunity to share. So we are a modern, young, hungry, aggressive commercial real estate brokerage and property management firm. We've got a team that is fantastic. Our agents are supported with marketing and operational and administrative support. We have systems and processes in place to enhance the customer experience. We do not just put our listings on the market and hope the phone rings. We are proactive. We use modern technologies and platforms, social media, paid advertising, lots of different things that we do that to push activity to your property. We don't have a national or international brand behind us. We are a locally owned and operated company, and the only reason we exist is because of the service we provide. We do not have people from New York or Los Angeles sending us business we're doing. We have grown because we do a good job, and we have very high standards of excellence, and we love serving our customers.
What's a great website they should go to for you? What's your website?
AspireCRE.com.
Phone number they should call?
713-440-8290. That's my personal cell phone.
It's an honor to have you today. And I was so excited to have you because you can do things very differently in commercial. We've had a lot of success in commercial, but it's so different than the success you've had. And it's been fun from afar to kind of watch you grow. And I look forward to seeing you grow. One thing you said that I find interesting, you're like, hey, we're local, we're not national. To which I would say, meeting you, I would bet that you might be. So I would love to be in Florida and see the Aspire brand, or be in New York and see the Aspire brand. I would absolutely love that. All right, a shout out to Go Long Studios. I highly recommend them. Great setup here.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty easy.
Awesome.
I highly recommend if you're in the real estate business or any business and want to build your ability to reach out, use Go Long Studios. We just secured a guest in the future that's going to be one of the biggest we've ever had, just like Brandon. Our job is to bring you great guests, so I look forward to an announcement we should have coming soon. If you've enjoyed us, please like us on the socials. If you know anyone buying or selling real estate on the west side, my phone number is 877-313-SELL, 877-313-7355. You can find us at ctimsell.com. Remember, Weamers Insurance is our sponsor. If when you call them, please mention the Tough Talk, and they might have an excellent swag bag for you. That's it. Thanks, Go Long Studios. And Brandon, thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me. And I'll just say, I've had never heard of your podcast. I've listened to some episodes after you told me about it and asked me to come on, which, by the way, thank you so much for having me.
Honored.
Great podcast, great guests. And I love the intentionality of asking the tough questions. And, I know there's a lot of people out there watching that are learning valuable lessons. So well done.
Thank you. And we'd love to have you. Hey, we are officially, by the way, we're officially over 200,000 viewers in just a few months.
Wow.
We hope to be to 1 million by the end of the year. Thank you guys so much for watching, and thanks for watching The Tough Talk.